Welcome to another episode of Latino Communicators. I'm your host, Marissa Plasencia.
And I'm your host, Betty Martinez.
Joining with us today we have Dr. Robert Gass. Gass earned his PhD at the University of Kansas in 1983. He is a professor of Human Communication Studies at California State University, Fullerton. Currently, he is serving as the chair of his department. His areas of expertise are argumentation, persuasion, social influence, and compliance gaining. He has published 2 texts with co-author John Sider and over 70 scholarly articles, book chapters, published conference proceedings, and professional papers. His recent research focuses on credibility in public diplomacy, visual persuasion, and interpersonal influence. His text with John Sider, Persuasion, Social Influence, and Compliance Gaining, is now in its 5th edition and is currently the best-selling persuasion text in the field of communication studies.
Dr. Gass is currently completing an argumentation text with the possible title, Arguing, Reasoning, and Thinking Well. He has served as an advisor and consultant to the California Dairy Council, California Associations of Realtors, and Caltrans. Today, he will be talking about Human Communications degree. Welcome, Dr. Bob Gass, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks. Delighted to be here.
Great. First, we want to start off by asking you, how many years have you been a professor here at Cal State Fullerton, and what is the best thing that you like about working here?
I've been here since 1981.
Wow.
I was 6'4" then, 20/20 vision, dark black hair. I'm lying. No, I've been here since 1981, and my first 15 years here I was the debate coach, the forensics program, and I actually got my MA here before I came back as a professor. And what I've always liked about Cal State Fullerton is it's very collegial and friendly. I feel like, you know, folks are just kind of nice here and folks get along, so I've been happy here.
Great.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about the Human Communications degree?
Sure. So, I mean, communication is the bread and butter of, you know, everyday life. Every walk of life requires communication skills. You probably know when people say their number one fear is always public speaking, fear of death only comes in second. So one thing communication studies majors get is skill at public speaking, presentations, but beyond public speaking there's job interviewing. We have courses on interviewing, interpersonal communication. Some companies now are reporting that new college graduates have spent so much time online that they're a little deficient in face-to-face communication skills. So interpersonal communication is part of that. We have argumentation, debate, persuasion, intercultural communication. So it's really how human communication works in all walks of life.
Do you happen to know like any specific type of job that a person that majors in human communications can obtain?
Yes, the people in organizational communication will often do training and development. Some of the people in intercultural do that too, but training for people who are going abroad or employees who are coming here. In the advocacy area, a lot of the debaters go on to law school. Some go into ministry. We have some who are campaign managers in political campaigns. Lobbying, although that sounds like a bad word, you can be a lobbyist for a good cause too. So there are a lot of those kinds of jobs. And then some of the newer areas are in social media and communication and health communication.
So human communications major sounds like a really interesting degree for students if they're not sure of what they want to do. But what can you say about the minor program here at Cal State Fullerton for those who have already decided what their major is but want to look for a minor?
Yeah, so if a student already has a major but they want to improve their communication skills, they can take 18 units of coursework. Some of those might already be general education courses they've already taken, like public speaking, for example. So it's 18 units of coursework, 6 units upper division, but they usually meet with an advisor and see what courses we offer that coincide with their career path and career goals. So one person might want more public presentation skills. Somebody else might want more intercultural background. So we tailor the minor to the specific student.
So what would the benefits be of the human communications minor? How would that add on to the resume and look good for future employers?
Well, it would be value added. So there isn't any career where you don't need good communication skills. You know, if you're interviewing, no one ever says, "I'm sorry, we can't hire you. Your communication skills are too good." So whatever someone's major is, it's going to be a benefit. And in almost any career path to move up, you have to be able to make presentations. It may be around a conference room or boardroom, may not be a large speech, but there's some requirement for communication competence.
I know we spoke before behind cameras about the debate team, and we have learned that we have a great team here in campus. Can you talk more about that, please?
Yeah, I actually first started out as a debate coach here, and the program has a long history here. Cal State Fullerton's debate program is the first to have had a female debater who qualified for the national debate tournament all 4 years. And almost every year that the program's existed, we've sent a team to the national debate tournament. That's sort of like the NCAA March Madness of debate. And so we've done very well. We're the best of any of the Cal States at debate, but our teams compete against Harvard and Dartmouth and Northwestern and hold their own pretty well. So yeah, we've been very proud of the program.
Great. So it is to our understanding that Cal State Fullerton graduates the most Latinos in the nation. So we heard that there's 2 Latinas that made it to the finals recently. Can you tell us a little bit more about who they were, what they did, and how they succeeded in the debate team?
Sure. I haven't had these 2 in class myself, but one is Bernicia Delgado and the other is Gabriela Gonzalez. You could probably roll their R's better than I can. They're both juniors, so they have another year of debate eligibility left. This year they qualified for the Cross-Examination Debate Association. That's one of the national tournaments. And they had a 5-3 record there and advanced to an elimination round. They lost that round on a 2-1 decision, but that's still very good for juniors. And they both received honors at that tournament. And then they also qualified for the national debate tournament. There are two big tournaments. That's the second one. And did well there, so we're pretty proud of them.
It sounds like a really interesting team to join. I'm pretty sure a lot of our Latino communicators aren't familiar with the debate team. Can you explain how one can join the team if interested?
Sure. Well, you don't have to be a communication studies major. So both of those 2 students, one's a philosophy major and I think the other's philosophy and something else, a double major. So it's an interdisciplinary program. Anyone in any major can compete in forensics. And it has 2 parts to it. One is intercollegiate debate and the other is speaking events. We call them platform, but informative, persuasive, things like that. Some of the students have already competed in high school. Some are walk-ons. We get transfers from community college. So usually if someone wants to begin doing forensics and they've never done it before, they would start out in novice division. And then once you win a trophy in novice, first, second, or third, you move up to junior division and from there on to varsity. So usually by someone's junior, senior year, they're trying to get up to varsity division or senior division and qualify for the national tournaments.
Are there any specific requirements that they should be working on? I don't know, like diction or taking notes?
A lot of skills. Diction's not one. Actually, if you saw a debate tournament, they talk so fast that it's very hard to follow unless you're a judge who's familiar with those arguments and the briefs and the evidence and things like that. So some people wish voice and articulation was stressed more in college debate, but a lot of it is just talking as fast as you can to get as many arguments in as you can. But it requires skills in critical thinking, evidence and research, organizing arguments into briefs, hierarchies of ideas, and then as they get better, it also becomes strategic, like if we want to end the debate here, what arguments do we need to make earlier on to make that happen? So there's a lot of strategy and theory of argument and things like that.
Before this interview, I did a little research on the kinds of works you do, and I read up a little bit about the Robert Gass High School Summer Forensics Institute program to prepare students for the debate team. Will something like that program ever come back to the university? for those students to get a chance to prepare for the debate team here at Cal State Fullerton?
Yeah, Donnie Peters is our Assistant Director of Forensics, and the last 2 summers he hosted this summer debate camp. I don't know if we'll do it this summer or not, but he's continuing it in the form of community outreach. So there's a middle school and 2 high schools where he's coaching students to try and get a debate program going there. So we're trying to see if in the Orange County area we can kind of build or grow forensics programs at the high school level. It would help us too if we could get students who'd already competed in high school and have them come to Fullerton.
I'm really interested to know what kind of competition categories are there in a debate competition, is what you would call it? Yeah.
Well, it's usually teams, 2 debaters on each team. So at the end of the debate, one team wins and one team loses. But you're also ranked, so you can be ranked 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, and you're given points up from 1 to 30 for speaking. So a good debater might win a lot of rounds with a partner, but might also win a top 5 or top 10 speaker award and have a certain number of first ranks. And in platform speaking, which would be individual events, informative, extemporaneous, impromptu, they're also ranked usually 1 through 6 or however many speakers were in that competition. And so we call it a picket fence. If someone had perfect ones in all their preliminary rounds, they'd be pretty good at what they're doing.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds also very intense, right? And I'm glad to hear also all the stories about success. And I want to ask you, how can subjects such as argumentation and persuasion and compliance gaining help a student's career regardless of their profession?
Well, communication skills are essential in any profession. I can't think of jobs where you don't need to be good at communication. And as I said, to move up in any career path, you almost have to have better communication skills, whether you're communicating as a superior to a subordinate, those kinds of things. So the skills that people learn, the experience they gain in our major are going to help them no matter what they go into. A lot of our folks might go into teaching. We have a lot of our MA students who teach at community colleges. A lot of our folks go on to law school, as I said. Some of them go into the corporate world. So usually what they tell us later is, that was the best course they ever took, or they're glad they took that course when they saw how often they had to give impromptu presentations and things like that.
Using your persuasive skills that you probably are an expert at, what can you say to persuade students to declare a major or a minor in human communications?
I would say human communications is the minor for all majors. It's 18 units, so while you're getting your regular major units completed, you have to complete a certain number of electives and things anyway. If someone focuses on communication studies as the minor, they can concentrate that into things that will improve their skills, advocacy ability, critical thinking. We also do a lot of writing in our major, so it would be valuable no matter what someone's degree is. And some of our debaters, those 2 are philosophy majors. We have, chemistry majors, political science, history. So it's an interdisciplinary program.
I hope that you enjoyed our conversation with Robert Gass. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Latino Communicators. I'm Marissa Plasencia.
And I'm Betty Martinez. Until next time.
Proud sponsors of Latino Communicators, Southwest Airlines. You are now free to move about the country.